All right, good morning, everyone. It is 9:04, and we are going to call this meeting of the BET Budget Committee to order. Today is our decision day. We are meeting on March 3rd, which is a month to the day when we had our first hearing, starting with the First Selectman's Office on February 3rd. Since then, we've had 6 full days of budget hearings, and I want to extend my thanks on behalf of all of us on this committee to all the department heads, staff, our team, the finance team, all the BET members who have been participating and listening and offering their thoughts and suggestions. We really appreciate everyone's involvement, and we hope to take this step by step, and hopefully we will conclude our business today. I will say we are keeping an eye on the weather. School was canceled this morning. I got a call at 5:20. I don't know why I got a call, but I got a call. So we're just going to keep an eye on it. If the weather turns icy and we need to adjourn our meeting until tomorrow, we can certainly do that in the interest of safety. But my hope, and I think everyone's hope, is that we can get through our business today.
It's going to change to rain, so I think
Yeah.
I think we'll be all right.
There you go, Harry. That's my meteorologist, Harry, over here. All right, with that, Mr. Fisher, can I have a motion to open our proceedings?
Yes, I would like to move both the First Selectman's operating budget and the First Selectman's capital budget for approval, subject to changes throughout the day.
All right, do I need a second? Second, Mr.?
Second.
All right, that's the order of business for the
Second.
day. So the way this is going to start is we are going to start with our operating. We all have electronic copies of voting sheets. We all have hard copies of voting sheets. Our comptroller, Joan Lynch, has the sheet on board. And so items that I know of motions are highlighted. So I'm not going to read all these line items, but I don't think we need to. But if someone has something that's not highlighted, by all means, stop me. Or
Thank you.
I don't want to go too fast. At the end of each section, we're going to proceed operating. We're going to do all the funds, and then we're going to do capital, all the funds, and then we're going to do revenues, and then we're going to do the budget schedules, including the mill rate page. That's the order of business. At any time during the day, if members need a sidebar or a caucus, we will allow time for that, of course. But, we'll see how it goes. And then we will take a lunch break at around noon. And we might take a break before noon to see how it goes. All right? Anyone else have any comments? No? All right, so let's start with operating. Just note on the voting sheet, we've added columns for move, second, and votes. That's for ease of minutes. In some areas, some line items, we identified who was going to move and second the motion, particularly on capital. We're not wedded to that, so if we change it during the meeting, don't be alarmed. But we were doing our best. This meeting is not scripted, but we were doing our best to be organized about how we proceed. Okay, so on the operating, the first highlighted line is the law department. Mr. Fisher, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I move a reduction in this line of $12,000. I think that was submitted by the town attorney.
I will second that motion.
Is there any discussion? Agnes, do you want to offer a comment?
Yeah, they cut their subscription, so that's why they're
That's
giving us
right.
money.
It was on the paper
Right.
subscriptions
Right.
because they're much more electronic. Thank you, Agnes.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, that's 4-0.
Got one, yay.
One down.
Don't get too excited yet.
All right, we're off and running. The next item is an adjustment of $5,741 for P&Z Board of Appeals Zoning Enforcement Officer. I understand this is a reclassification in grade. This came from Agnes. I have no further information on that. Mr. Fisher, would you care to second
I
that?
second that.
Any additional comment, Agnes? There are a couple of these, not too many.
Yes, they came after we did the projection for the salary, so that's why we're adjusting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. Sorry, I moved, Harry seconded. Sorry, I'm having an issue with my co-pilot. Okay. All right, all right, that's for general government. So the total change there was 6,259 reduction. Next is the fire department. Mr. Fenton, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I have a motion to reduce 201-52210 water service reduced by 100,000 to 1.37 million.
Second.
And just to explain this, so I don't get accused of cutting water from the fire department, this is a fixed cost for the fire department that's determined by the number of fire hydrants and the linear feet of water mains. Over the past 6 years, the expenses ranged from 1.2 million to 1.25 million. This budget reduction will better reflect the expected expense while also giving the fire department flexibility in case they were to see a price increase, and the assistant chief signed off on this adjustment.
Additional comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
Next one is in the police department, 213 general services, a move an addition of 124,640. This has to do with I believe it's 1.3 positions that were added to this. One is an additional FOIA clerk to help them catch up with the tremendous load from FOIA inquiries. And the other is to increase the property and evidence clerk from part-time to full-time.
Mr. Fenton, you
I will
second that? Any additional comments?
I just,
We've heard the HR
I'm not
committee.
sorry if Harry mentioned this, but the HR committee voted 4-0-0 for both of these. Or sorry, 3-0-1. Forgive me.
Additional comment? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. The next one is Waste Disposal Division. This is another reclassification in grade. The change is 11,341. Mr. Fisher, will you second?
I second that.
Any discussion?
No, I'll just make a comment for the public that we are closely looking at costs and expenses in the waste disposal division and expect some, since the contract is up, we're going to expect some transition there as we go forward in this fiscal year coming up.
Mr. Fenton?
Yeah, I'd like to echo Harry's comments that we have seen volume declines over the past year for Holly Hill, both in primarily in municipal solid waste. But given contracts will be reviewed this summer, we're holding off on taking any action until we have more clarity on that.
I would just also add, and this is a general theme, is that we are taking a closer look on revenues, and this is one of those areas where both the tipping fee and the residential permit fee probably need a closer review. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Aye.
Harry seconded, yes.
Yeah, it's on the
Yeah,
sheet.
yeah.
Same as the sheet.
All right, the next line item is Health Administration. Mr. Fenton, you have a motion?
Yep. I have a motion to reduce 401-51300 temporary salaries reduced by $48,328 to $15,608.
Let's just get a second first, Doug, before you
Yep.
offer the explanation. Would one of you like to second it?
Oh, you were down.
I'm down, but would one of you like to second? I'm trying to be bipartisan where I
Okay,
can.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Fenton.
So this was a year-over-year increase in funding. That's for an added part-time staff position to be on the budget in the TOO, but it has not been reviewed by the HR committee, nor did it appear in the TOO budget book submitted by the first selectman.
Additional comment? So I would just like to make a comment on this. This is a position for a part-time health educator. The money appears in the budget, but due to an oversight, it did not appear in the TOO. The Department of Health, both the department head for the health department as well as the Board of Health voted for this position. My particular take on this is the position of a health educator At this time, when we have our most vulnerable residents subject to underinsurance and healthcare, there's a lot of disruption in the healthcare field. There's a lot of confusion about vaccinations and guidance coming from CDC. I recognize and appreciate that the process for going to the HR committee wasn't followed in this particular case, but I do think this is something that I would really like to see the RTM opine on. So I'm going to be voting against this motion. Thank you. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm a no, so that's 3-1. All right. The next item is highlighted. It is not a motion, but it's just an indication in external entities that we typically have conditions which are voted on by the full BET at their decision day at the end of March. But I'm indicating a similar condition that exists in this year's budget for both GEMS and TAG. The next one we have is fixed charges. So we, Doug, do you want to take, let's talk about health insurance, the overall gross number before we take up your motion. Do you want to set the context here?
Sorry. You want to comment on the gross line item?
Yeah, do you want to do that?
Sure. So, speaking broadly about healthcare and how we have been budgeting for it, with the help of the finance department, we've been doing work to evaluate. We have consistently and increasingly over budgeted for healthcare over the last number of years, where our surplus has expanded from about $2 million to about $5 million. One additional point is currently in the budget, we have a 13% increase in the 57100, which is our gross healthcare number, that we are still waiting, I believe, for the final indication from the state, but that number may be higher. So we can hold off on, we're going to hold off on that piece, at least until we get to the full decision day when we have a final number. The employee health premium contribution, which to understand is a effectively dependent variable that links to gross health care, because all of our employees have a co-share or co-payment tied to their health benefits, and that is contractual, has been under budgeted. This year specifically, in the initial budget, the percentage budget to budget, the percentage was budgeted down, despite the fact that in all of our contracts, or for contracts we expect to renew, we have an increase in that percentage of 50 to 100 basis points, so 0.5% to 1%. So that is the context that this is. It deserves a review more broadly. The motion I'm going to make, but subject to potential further conversation down the line, it would be a change in 901-57102 employee health premium contribution, changing that by $1,505,000 when this is a contra expense to $14,784,000. As I mentioned earlier, this adjustment's recommended in I'll pause there.
Would anyone like to second that motion? I'll second it. Discussion? Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, this did not go before the HR committee. I think it should go before the HR committee. That's one comment. I think if the 57,100 healthcare insurance line, which is $83,763,000, if that's going to be adjusted, I've not been able to do the analysis of the impact of a potential adjustment on that, on the employee healthcare contribution line. I think that's work's been done by the finance department, but I certainly haven't had time to review this, and I think this really ought to be put off to a decision on the full BET decision day at the end of March.
Let me make a comment to Harry's point, or his first point, just with the HR committee, given that this is historically, and in the finance department budgets for this, to your second point of or actually, did you want to comment?
Go ahead. You're on a roll.
Oh, yeah. So it not necessarily within that purview. That's not how the budgeting's done. Just to this point, I'm respectful of the fact that there's probably a larger conversation to be had here. So I feel confident that this will pass through. Ultimately, because it makes sense to make our budget more accurate and reflective of what our actual net healthcare costs of the town are, which is one of the goals, is to have a budget that is more accurate. But also I'm willing to consider withdrawing to revisit within the full BUT.
So I would just comment that, as Mr. Fenton mentioned, we are postponing the decision whether or not to increase our currently projected 13% increase in healthcare premiums to 14.5% pending further guidance from the state, which we may get by the end of March. If we do that, the increase would be 1.1 million. But this proposal that Mr. Fenton has suggested is really to true up what our existing employee contributions to their healthcare are vis-a-vis the bargaining agreements. So I think this is really a factual analysis. The census is provided by HR, and finance does the projection. So I think this is a responsible motion to take up at this time, because we are matching it against the currently projected healthcare. Whether or not we address this with the full BET in March for healthcare as it is budgeted now, or the healthcare as we may choose to adjust it based on further guidance from the state, it really makes no difference. But I do think it's important that we flag this issue. That's something that we have been under budgeting. And I appreciate Mr. Fenton's work with this. I appreciate Agnes working with Mr. Fenton and Joan. So if there's no other discussion, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, I appreciate Doug's analytics and the discussions we've had on this topic. I just think that I need a little more information. So I don't disagree with his motion. I will probably vote against it if he doesn't withdraw it. But basically, I don't disagree with that. I just need a little more information.
Mr. Fenton, what's your pleasure?
In deference to my colleagues, and again, that we'll address this later, I will withdraw my motion.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the discussion. So, Joan, we're going to change that to 0 change. Okay. The next item is Agnes and Joan, repayment of debt principal and interest. This is a proposed change of $1,077,000 reduction. I'll move the item. Mr. Fisher, will you second the item?
Second.
Joan and Agnes, would you offer the explanation?
That's the bond premium. So we just issued the 2026 bond. So the bond premium then decreases the payment. That's what we do. We amortize the bond premium.
So this is a standard adjustment we make basically every year. Any discussion or comment? All those in favor? Aye. 4-0. We are ripping through this. All right. So that concludes the general fund, and let's just check where we are. So, Joan, what is the net reduction?
$1,095,606.
We true up. I have nothing on sewer maintenance, nothing on sewer improvement, but on Nathaniel Witherall, when they were in here, we discussed the large variance to the electric bill, and it came out that they were using their summer bills to annualize the cost. So they have come back with a recommendation to keep their electric service flat at fiscal 26 level, so that is a reduction of $85,199. I move that item.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just while we're on Nathaniel Witherell, can I make some comments? I'm one of the two liaisons with Mr. Weisbrod to Nathaniel Witherell, and if you were on during their presentation to the Budget Committee, they are embarking on a new effort to try to adjust this.
To say the other liaison.
Oh, Mr. Selps, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Sorry.
Mr. Weisbrod's my public service. My apologies. So when they presented to us, they talked about a new plan to try to raise this census, which is frightfully low in the 150s out of 250 beds and a budgeted number of 202 beds out of a budgeted number of 174. So they asked for some time to get that rolling. It should have rolled out by now. And they said that they expect to see some results in 4 months. So I think the full BET, with my suggestion to Mr. Weisbrod, the chairman, will take a close look at this in July to see what progress is being made, because the losses, it's not an operating problem. They pretty much keep to their costs in the budget, but it's a revenue problem that affects the town and serious millions of dollars in losses. So stay tuned for more on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. And I would agree that Nathaniel Witherell is doing a lot of things to try and address the challenges with the census and the current environment. And we need to monitor their progress. And I appreciate you being the liaison along with Mr. Selps. And we look forward to seeing Nathaniel Witherell. All right, I think that concludes operating. So we are ready to move to capital. I'll give Joan a minute to put up the voting sheet. Thank you, Joan. All right, the first one we have here is on the fire department, our CIP sheet that was included in the first selectmen's budget. After our discussion, we asked for substitute CIP pages, which we do have. Mr. Fisher, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I'll move the new sheet for volunteer tanker in the amount of $1.1 million. And if I have a second, then I'll discuss it.
I'll second that.
Okay, as Erickson alluded to, we had a combined sheet for this and the next one that you'll hear about related to volunteer support apparatus at Sound Beach. This has to do with water supply tankers, which serve the areas of town that do not have water mains and fire hydrants. And the Round Hill Fire Company is in the midst of refurbishing its tanker that did not pass inspection. It expects to have that back, I'm going to guess now, within 4 months. And so this request is for $1.1 million, which will acquire a new tanker that will be owned by the town of Greenwich and housed at the Round Hill Volunteer Fire Company. So in effect, in a few years when this tanker is delivered, it's 2 or 3 years lead time, Round Hill will have 2 tankers, and then the $750,000 that was in the current year budget is being reduced by the finance department to $375,000, which is the contribution to Banksville for its new tanker, and I don't know what the expected delivery on that is. I think it's on order already. So we're moving forward with 1.1 to acquire a new tanker. This will essentially make the fire company in Round Hill primarily a water supply fire company. If they do have enough volunteers, and we hope they do, then they will also be able to send out their engine, but the tankers will go out first.
Further discussion? I would just like to add that I think the fire department is working on this, but I think it would be smart to have some sort of memorandum of understanding with Banksville. We're giving them matching funds for a tanker, just to be sure that they keep it in proper order, they maintain it, indemnify it, proper insurance. I know we've had a very strong relationship with the Banksville Volunteer Department. We rely on them for fire coverage in their area, but I think it's smart to codify some of these arrangements.
Maybe apply to Round Hill as well.
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor of 1.1?
Aye.
Aye.
So the second motion is the second sheet that we were provided to appropriate $300,000, and I'll move that with a second. I'll discuss it.
Second.
Okay, this is to go to the Sound Beach Volunteer Fire Company, but is 150 is being matched for a new support vehicle to increase the technical rescue capabilities, and then $150,000 for fleet optimization and rescue equipment. There is an agreement with the fire company, maybe it's verbal and maybe it needs to be codified, but that the paid staff will be able to use the vehicle should Sound Beach not be able to mount it, but it's one of the strongest volunteer companies in town, so I don't think that'll happen. But, and I just remind you that, you know, the offset here is a reduction 375 in the current year budget. So as noted, I move this forward and it's been seconded.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. The next one I have is under the police department. It is a rounding, just to round these numbers. So on the fast seal door replacement, just to increase by 180,000 to, or decrease, excuse me, to round down to 117. Oh, sorry. $180 to round down to 117,000. Getting my
It's hard
zeros
with the
mixed
decimal
up. I
points
know.
being there.
All right.
Yeah. I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
Aye.
The next one is police boat. Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, I move forward the police boat 124 purchase for $296,657. If I have a second,
I'll second.
thank you. This was inadvertently left out of the budget, but is necessary because the large police boat 139 is going to go to the yard, I believe in the wintertime, to be refurbished. And that would leave the police department with one boat, 125, and that creates a risky situation. Should that boat go out of service, it would leave the police with no boats. And these are actively used primarily in the summer and fall during the boating season, but have to be available in the winter as well. So this would be a modest boat, much smaller than the previous 124 that it's replacing, but it's the choice of the police department. So I support this.
Additional comments? Did you mention, I might have missed it, I was trying to catch up on my spreadsheet, that the prior boat has been decommissioned?
Oh, no, I didn't. But the prior boat was going to get some refurbishment. When they hauled it, they discovered you could poke a hole in the bottom. The electrolysis had destroyed the aluminum hole, so it was sold for scrap, I think, for $7,500.
And just to add to that, I believe they said the rehabilitation of that boat would have been not meaningfully different than the cost for this.
A little bit less, but not meaningfully
Maybe
different. Yeah, this
250 or
is
so.
clearly the right economic decision.
Yep.
All right, so we do have substitute CIP pages. I'll just note that some of these need to be, page numbers need to be added. You'll fix that up when we do that. All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. The next item I have, moving off the police to Public Works. This is not a motion, but just an indication of a potential condition. When we spoke about the Byram River Army Corps of Engineer project to replace the bridge at the intersection at the border between Port Chester and Greenwich, down by the Carvel ice cream store. It's a fairly complicated project involving funding from a federal agency, the Army Corps of Engineers, New York Department of Transportation, and the town of Greenwich. The idea is that raising this bridge and removing the center piers will help mitigate the flooding upstream in Pemberwick. But we really don't know the final agreement terms, so the condition would be we need to have a better understanding of the final agreement terms. Already we know that the construction costs have gone up and our likely contribution may be closer to 10 million than 8 million. But we don't want, we want to know what our cap is, what our responsibilities are. So this is just an indication that there will be a condition.
Just to footnote that, it's 10 million over 2 budget years. So it'd be from 4 to 5 in each of the 2 years.
But we are not recommending a change
No.
from 4 million at this point.
Certainly not.
The next one, Mr. Fisher, is just a note about the source of funds for the school zone sign maintenance. Do you want to make a note on that?
Yeah, I realized when we were going through with the police department that, and I think this has been well publicized, but not fully understood in the public's mind, the new school speed signs or speed devices that are causing some consternation out there. The use of the fine money that's received by the town, and none's been received yet, is highly restricted to school safety, pedestrian safety, things like that, and can't be used for general matters. The school zone signs that are the blinking yellow lights that must be in place near these new speed devices are getting quite old and in need of maintenance. And so we've got 150 in the budget this year, or the fiscal 27 for these signs. It occurred to me that that might be a good use for the revenue from the tickets, but yet to be determined. The finance department is scrutinizing this closely.
Thank you. The next item I have is before the Grigg Street bollards, but it is not in our voting sheet because I didn't know how to actually present it. But in our long-term capital plan, on page 5 in the budget book on the capital schedules, there is an item in fiscal '28 for the multi-use trail that was proposed to go between Greenwich and Stamford. And it is, it's come to our knowledge that $3.5 million, that will not be proceeding. So the recommendation would be to take $3.5 million out of the fiscal '28 budget. Can I have a motion for that?
Yeah, I would move the removal of 3.5 million in the fiscal '28 capital plan. I know that the DPW is looking at alternates for that money, but I think that needs to be brought before us separately.
Mr. Fenton, you second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was a little bit of a curveball. See, I went through all my notes last night, and I watched a little bit of the videotape. It's very helpful to have that videotape. Actually, Sally Bednar, thank you. You brought that up, I think, in a sidebar, so thank you. The next item is the Grigg Street
Yep,
bollards.
so
Mr. Fenton?
312961, to remove $400,000 for the Grigg Street Baller sidewalk.
I would second that.
While we appreciate the residents' concerns there, DPW indicated to us that the temporary measure being utilized seemed to work somewhat well. And it's unclear if this would be a meaningful investment in something that may be a temporal issue.
Yeah, I would comment also that, when they were discussing this, they pointed out that they had planted trees on West Elm Street to deal with a similar problem of vehicles parking on the sidewalks, and that maybe trees could be used in this instance, which would be environmentally friendly.
That would also be one of those things, if we did it, then we get constant complaints about how ugly and bad it looks.
Yes.
So it's one of those things on paper people just don't understand. But
That's
if we
right.
put it in place, we would hear a whole storm of complaints.
All right, are we ready to vote?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. All right, the next one I have is the Resiliency Infrastructure Improvement Project. I'm going to make a motion to delete this by $250,000. Or actually, I'm going to make a motion to defer it by a year. Mr.
Okay.
Fisher?
I thought we were going to delete, but I'll second your motion.
So background on this motion is a few years ago, under the auspices of the Conservation Commission, with help from many department heads, a resilience study was done. Part of it was looking at tidal pools and flooding along the coastline. Part of it was looking at hardening town infrastructure assets. This particular item is $250,000 to build on that plan. However, the way it's presented in the budget, the planning is for this year, but any potential design or construction would be in the out years. I did speak to Jim Michael about this, and what I came away with is we are actually taking action on some of those recommendations that came out of those projects. We are raising the headworks at Grass Island. We, in this budget, have a proposal to work on the West End Highway Shed. We have done some work with bridges in town, Wescombe Woods, Sound Beach Avenue. So we are actively working on some of these projects. Another one is the Coscob Pump House. And that's the work I'd like to see completed before we do additional planning. Completely in favor of hardening our assets and making sure we have resilient infrastructure for weather events and whatever may come our way. But I think we can defer this a year. I think we have enough going on.
Yeah, I would just like to commend Ms. Erickson for raising this, the initiative to do this, that, I'm reminded of when I was on the BET in the 90s and we were sitting in Public Works with Frank Mazza, and the DPW wanted to do more studies about sewer infiltration. And he looked around at the bookcases and said, "You're full of studies here. Why do we need another one? Just take one off the shelf and do the work." It's a great story. Thank you.
Wise advice. We ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
4-0.
Aye.
All right, the next one we have is Hamel Rink. I think we can just skip right over this and go on to the next item. What do you think? Yes. Mr. Fisher? Sorry, this is condition. Sorry, Harry.
That's right.
This is to footnote
This is
condition.
to discuss three conditions to put on this. One would be to, and these are conditions that would be put on at decision-making day, but we want to raise them today. And that is a full analysis of what we received last Friday, which is a proposed operating plan for the rink that would, in due course after it's built, set it up to be similar to the golf course as a self-paying entity. Also to have it conditioned on achieving MI approval before we release all the funds. And hopefully that will pass muster this time on all fronts. And
Private fundraising.
oh, and to set an objective for private fundraising to be determined. We've been discussing some objectives and having discussions with the first selectman, but we really want to see a strong fundraising effort for the rink. So that'll be down the road on March 31st. We'll have more to say.
Mr. Benton?
Yeah, I just want to touch on the first part. Just commending Parks and Rec for turning around and providing us with that operating plan, but really having a chance for us and the town to dig into that more holistically to make sure we have a real understanding of not only the financial implications of this rink building, but what the financial implications on an ongoing basis to the town are.
And I would just add the task force that was set up, that Matt Deschamps led, did a cost estimate, and we came up with a number close to 36 million. So I had questioned the gap between the 36 million and what's in the budget of 42.1. We did get a response from Public Works. There are some soft costs that aren't included. There's potential expansion in footprint and how that additional space might be used that would lead to additional costs. There is some discussion about alternative energy sources, geothermal and whatnot. So we haven't reconciled fully those numbers, but the explanation was provided for the difference between the approximately 36 million and the 42 that's in the budget. And I just wanted to mention that.
Laura?
Yes, Ms. Tarkington?
Also, you may want to consider an additional condition between the detailed construction drawings and then, the actual construction, which is very typical of many of these projects.
I look forward to hearing from you on decision day.
Thank you.
All right, so there is no, but it's important, I think, to signal that this is a large project. It has been under discussion for many, many years, and I think it's important to note that we expect additional oversight and conditions on this project.
And I would suggest it's in no way to be interpreted that there's not support for this project. There is a lot of general support among the members of the BET, I believe.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, the next one I have is the Horse Neck Building demo. Mr. Kelly, would you like to make a motion on this?
Sure, I'll move that we reduce the budget by $420,000 for the Horse Neck Building demo.
Mr. Fenton?
I will second.
Okay, the Horse Neck Building a demo. It seems there's a queue of people that want to use this building, and it seems that we have a tremendous use for it, and there's no reason to take it down at this point. That will be put off to sometime in the future, if at all, and so I move we reduce it from certainly this budget.
Mr. Fenton, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I just want to add, and this will tie into some of the upcoming motions that we have as well, and ask, and in conversations with P&Z from our meeting, of just kind of a more broad facility footprint plan of what we're trying to achieve, and to, as a town, move away from kind of tactical of, oh, we can put this person here, or we can put this department there, to a much more strategic and multi-year view, I think would be, is a real goal and something we can hope to achieve with our facilities.
I agree.
Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, I would second that, and I would say that when PNC was here, that they indicated a willingness to, consider alternate uses, but still are firm in that this needs to ultimately go and be demolished because it's not the most attractive building in town.
So I had a slightly different take on the meeting when Patrick and Margarita were here. Patrick very clearly said that this site is not suited for residential purposes, but that over the years, and this has been in use since the second part of the public safety complex was being built when the central firehouse was moved to that temporary facility. So over those many years, it's served as swing space for a number of town projects, as well as housing some nonprofits when they've had their own projects. So I heard a willingness to entertain the use of it as a municipal space, recognizing the need for swing space, but that someone would have to apply for an MI. Someone would have to spend a little money to improve it. It is the gateway to Greenwich, after all, and there are still temporary water and sewer hookups. So I thought that was encouraging because I think we all recognize that we do have the need for swing space. And currently, right now, the Coscob Pump House project, some of the DPW equipment is being stored there, and we certainly have had a lot of interest in that facility. So I view that as a positive step forward, and I hope that we can, as we try and arrange some of these puzzle pieces that are before us in this budget and future budgets, I hope we can make good use of that.
Well said, thank you.
All those in favor of
Aye.
Mr. Kelly's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Reduction of 420. All right, so talking about puzzle pieces, we're moving forward to the Roger Sherman Baldwin Park. In this budget, there is $1 million for design, and next year's budget, there's $10 million for construction. This motion I'm about to make, let me make it and maybe get a second, and then I'll explain it. So I'm making a motion to delete $1 million from Roger Sherman Baldwin Park. Is there
I
a
will
second?
second that.
And let me explain. We have had a preliminary concept plan for the proposal to reimagine Roger Sherman Baldwin Park and make it more of a recreational space and take advantage of the water views and its location. One of the principal stumbling blocks is the location of the Parks and Trees building, which houses a Parks and Rec crew for Town Hall and Bruce Park, which are the major activities of Parks and Rec, as well as the small equipment and machine repair shop. So nothing is going to happen until we figure out where Parks and Rec trees are going to relocate. So the proposal, the next item, is a Holly Hill master plan to pull forward that item from the fiscal '28 budget to figure out that problem once and for all. Because until we solve for X, we can't proceed with Y. So this should not be viewed as an indication that I am in any way against beautifying Roger Sherman Baldwin Park. It is a beautiful park, and if we can relocate our crews to appropriate space, I am all for it. It's just the order of operations. I think we do need to solve one. So that is the rationale for my motion. Further comment, Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, I will not be supporting this because while Holly Hill Master Plan has MI approval, there is no MI approval for Baldwin Park redevelopment, nor is the preliminary work that's been done appear to be sufficient to gain MI approval. So we believe that there ought to be simultaneous efforts for all pieces of this, and doing some studies of that area, particularly any environmental concerns, having had a maintenance facility there for many years. And to achieve some MI, I'll be making a subsequent motion, assuming this fails, to reduce it by 750, leaving 250,000.
Mr. Fenton?
Yeah, and we'll talk about this on the Holly Hill plan. But again, I really want to echo Ms. Erickson's comments around order of operations and jobs to do. My experience is that there are times that we, in our planning, try to accomplish the last goal first, rather than starting with the first goal that will allow us to sequentially get to a place. It seems to me, and again, as it relates to the HorseNet conversation and some other conversations we have with both DPW and Parks and Rec over budget committee days, that having a clear view of what we're going to do and what facilities may or may not, or teams may or may not get relocated to Holly Hill is kind of the biggest step to do as we think about Roger Sherman Baldwin Park, as we think about some of our other assets. And so, again, sequencing this, it makes most sense to me to delete this item, and that this will get revisited once we have a clear line of sight of where that Parks and Rec building will be relocated.
Mr. Kelly?
Thank you. Well, I've been seeing this project being put off year after year, and it's really disappointing because it's a great opportunity to really enhance the town of Greenwich. I have to support Harry in maybe a reduced number to really get this project moving forward, because we have to get started on it. I understand your points about the moving parts and having to coordinate the moving parts, but we need to allocate some money to this to begin this project, because it's just a waste, and we're just going to go another year and another year and another year, and it just frustrates me to see things like that and these tremendous assets.
Mr. Fisher, would you like to make a motion to amend my motion to delete by $1 million?
Oh, okay. I move to amend Ms. Erickson's motion to make this a reduction of $750,000, leaving $250,000 for design and study work.
I will second that amendment.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further discussion? No, we vote on the,
On the
Mr. Fisher?
amendment?
Yes.
No, sorry,
So
that's
we're-
to vote.
So we're voting on the amendment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, we vote on the main item.
Now we're voting on Roger Sherman Baldwin as amended to reduce by $750,000, leaving $250,000 in the budget. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
400.
Thank you. Well done.
Welcome. The next item is Holly Hill Master Plan. Mr. Fenton.
Yeah. I would make I'm making a motion to bring Holly Hill Master Plan to add $650,000 for this item in the FY27 budget, and I believe remove $450,000, removing $450,000 from the FY28 budget, I believe.
Right. Was there a previous sheet? right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
There wasn't a sheet
Yeah.
because it was.
it was in the future years, there wasn't a sheet. Okay, I'll second this of Mr. Fenton's motion to put 650 in the next fiscal year, 27, and reducing, how much?
I believe 450,000.
Reducing 450 in the out year. Sorry for the confusion on this, but I only have one piece of paper in front of me.
Sorry, we're moving too fast. I can't keep up, so it's okay. Take the time you need.
And
Mr. Fenton, go
I'll
ahead.
speak on this one. So given our prior discussion on Roger Sherman Baldwin Park, the first item needing to be addressed is the relocation of the Parks Division engine repair shop in achieving the shared goal of beautifying Roger Sherman Baldwin Park and making it more usable. Further, as stated in the CIP sheet that was provided to us, the Holly Hill Master Plan will allow review of facility distribution of public works and Parks and Rec to best optimize the town's footprint. Finally, given the rising cost to dispose of MSW recyclables and other trash that we discussed earlier as it relates to the operating plan, the master plan is expected to improve site operations and efficiency.
Mr. Kelly.
Just bringing it down to a personal level, I'm a dump frequent flyer, and I do like going to the dump. And improving that operations, I mean, sometimes you go there and you see some really good stuff being put out there, then just a big truck comes and crushes it. So if we had improved this operation to some degree and then take a look at these sort of things, I know it's out of our purview, but just bringing it down to a personal level, there's so much can be done at Holly Hill that I think would certainly facilitate the Roger Sherman opportunity as well as improve the operations there.
I agree with everything that's been said. I do want to just spend a minute on this because we do have a substitute capital planning sheet. So the 450 was moved forward from fiscal '28, and an additional $200,000 was added, but other changes were made. Does everyone have this copy? I want to be
Yeah.
sure everyone is. So I would just say that the total new 5-year total for this Holly Hill Master Plan is 19,000, or 19 million, excuse me, 150,000, whereas the prior CIP sheet, the total over that period was $18,200,000. I would like to reduce the fiscal '29 and the out year from 12.5 to get us back down to the 18.2. I think there's still a lot of discussion. There was discussion in the CIP sheet about the Newman Street facility. And I think I'd just prefer to keep it level to where we were in the existing capital plan before increasing it from 18.2 to 1950. So my proposal, and I haven't done the math, maybe someone can help me, Agnes, is to take 19,
You're taking
I'm-
950.
I'm-
Can
950,
Can
yes.
I make a suggestion that we roll back, just amend, add the 650 for this year, and then we'll sort out?
You're doing the mic, sorry.
Can I make a suggestion that we take a step back, vote on adding the first piece of this here, and then make all the appropriate adjustments to the capital plan at decision day? Is that possible?
It's,
That's okay?
I'm indifferent.
That's fine. And I know that I should mention that the Debt and Fund Balance Policy Committee is also doing work on the long-term capital plan concurrently. So I am happy. I just wanted to highlight, though, that there was an increase over the 5-year period. Mr. Weisbrod?
Yeah, that's the point I want to reinforce. So we welcome the observations about out years. I think it's terrific. I just hope that, and I'm sure Agnes will be keeping a tally of all that, because that's the scrutiny right now of the Debt and Fund Balance Policy Committee, as you've just noted. So we need to just make sure we keep, the tally clear so that when the Debt and Fund Balance Policy Committee meets on the 11th, we get all the numbers aligned and we're all in sync, that's all. But the observations, comments are extremely welcome.
Okay, so that's excellent. So the motion before us is to add 650 for the Holly Hill Master Plan. Any further discussion? Mr. Ready?
I think I need to I will amend my motion to add 650,000 just 650,000 for the Holly Hill Master Plan in FY '27.
And I accept that as a seconder.
All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
We need to vote, sorry.
And that was accepted, so I think we're fine. The next item I have is in external entities. Let me double check that. I make a motion to delete this item, $100,000 for enhanced security cameras. Mr. Fisher, would you second?
Yeah, I second that.
So Agnes actually checked with the town attorney and who reviewed the agreement, and we, as a town, we have certain obligations related to the older part of the building, insurance for the entire collection, but this is not one of our obligations. So we have confirmed that.
Yeah, and I think this is, brought up the subject of actually taking a good hard look at that agreement, which has not been reviewed for a number of years, so I'm hopeful that'll be done.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
4-0. The next item is a rounding item for school kitchen equipment to increase it by $300 to $638,000.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. The next item is the Greenwich High School proposed pool replacement. Wait. Hang on. bear with me for 1 minute. Agnes, when we have to take out, all right, before we get to that, we're going to talk about the pool project, but when the BOE was here before us on February 5th, they mentioned 2 items that were in the fiscal year 30 plan. So I am on page 8 of the overall capital schedules. There are a few items related to improving Greenwich High School campus. And what we found out from the Board of Ed is there's a item called Cardinal Field Improvement in the out years beginning in fiscal '29 for $1.5 million, and in fiscal '30 for $8.5 million. The items that are below that under generator replacement for GHS secondary egress, $1.5 million, that was already included in the Cardinal Field Stadium improvement item, so it's duplicative. So the motion, and I don't know how you want to do this, but in fiscal 2030, the motion would be to remove $1.5 million for the GHS secondary egress because it's inclusive and other projects. And likewise for the tennis courts, which is in there for $8 million for fiscal 30. That is part of what we're now calling the GHS Aquatics and Tennis Project. So it's not just a pool anymore, it's a campus-wide project, and we'll discuss that in a minute. But I think it's important to note that in fiscal 30, the 2 items, $1.5 million and $8 million, should come out of the long-term capital plan.
I'll second that motion to remove both the secondary egress at 1.5 and the tennis courts at 8.
Further discussion?
I think as a point of emphasis, I just want to reemphasize what you said, which is that it's not that this is not to have these projects move forward or to remove the consideration of the egress, rather to consolidate it into a single project.
Correct.
Correct. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. All right, now to come to the GHS pool project. I'm going to make the motion. I'm not making a motion, actually. I am indicating an area of condition. So we have had extensive conversations with this. The Board of Ed first looked at a first read of a feasibility study and recommendations in November, I believe, of last year. There was some concern from some members of the tennis community. There was concern about, doing how we're going to phase things. Are we going to build a pool with the egress? Do we need the egress to the driveway before or after we build the pool? So I think the Board of Ed is currently in the process of going back and doing some work. We have spoken to Ben Branyan. He believes he needs the $4 million. There is probably an amount less than $4 million than it would take to get to MI. And as we have done in the past with other projects, I think we would expect a condition on, keeping the money needed for MI, including the waiting period, but having a condition on the remainder. So I don't have the exact number for you. He indicated probably 30% would be in line with other projects, but this would be something that I would expect we'd have a condition ready for the full BET on decision day.
Okay, just to be clear, Mr. Branyan is still developing a number which we would have by decision day, but somewhere around 30% of $4 million or $1.2 million would be needed to achieve MI, and we would condition the remaining amount based on achieving MI and all the appeals period.
And to be honest, having a full understanding of the scope of the project.
Yes, of course.
I mean,
Well, that would go with the MI.
that would go with the MI.
Yeah.
I think we all recognize, and for those who don't know, the pool at Greenwich High School right now is the existing pool from 1970s. It is experiencing some mechanical issues. Actually, Mr. Pellegrino and I had a tour of the facility yesterday. There are some concerns with the deck surrounding the pool, that it doesn't have adequate clearance. There's concern with some of the drainage, and it needs to be addressed. So I think, again, this is one of those projects that maybe we weren't anticipating on our bingo card a couple of years ago, but it became apparent, given the maintenance schedule with the pool, that something needed to be done, and the Board of Ed is still assessing what needs to be done. After having heard from the tennis community, the first proposal was to displace some tennis courts, and that did not go over well. So I think the Board of Ed is trying to be responsive to its constituents, and we should definitely know more before BET votes at the end of the month. Mr. Kelly?
I had spent, while the Cardinal Stadium project was going, I had spent 5 days a week there for 2 years straight. So I kind of know that campus quite well. And I have a ton of questions on the things they're proposing. So certainly a reduction is in order. And I'm not sure they've addressed some of the things that they've yet to ask me about. There are some just little things like there might be the need for a traffic light on Route 1. That's state property that you cross going into the road, and it's right-hand turn only. If you want to return to the campus, you have to make a left, which is a big problem. I hadn't heard anyone even talk about that. So there are a lot of other issues which I knew were the case, spending that much time there before. So yes, there's a lot of things that have to be discussed.
Additional comments? No, so there is no motion there. The next one I have highlighted is Julian Curtis. We were asking for additional information. Mr. Fisher, do you want to give us an update on that?
Yeah, we got some additional information and then an email either last night or this morning from Mr. Branyan because, as a member of the Julian Curtis Building Committee, I was questioning the details. The details came in at a higher number, but we're not going to be adjusting this because Mr. Branyan thinks that we'll be able to get it back down to the 3369. I've raised questions about new handrails on the interior stairways as to whether that's really necessary. We've completed an elevator in the project, and so it's a big, long way towards satisfying ADA requirements. This project will be doing the next phase of ADA requirements and fixing up millwork in the classrooms, but importantly, it's going to provide for at least one classroom in each grade to have, and all special rooms, to have a handicap door, a wide enough door to accommodate a handicapped person. And the bathrooms have already been done. So we're going a long way there towards satisfying ADA requirements. And so we're going to leave this alone.
Thank you for that update. I appreciate it. The next item I have is fixed charges. We're going to come back to that for,
But Parks and Rec.
Pickleball?
oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Mr. Fenton.
Yeah, first I'm going to make a motion to delete $50,000 for the Byram Hill concrete overhang removal.
I will second that.
And that is deleted per Parks and Rec recommendation and request.
Additional discussion? Mr. Fisher?
Nope, I was going to vote.
All those in favor?
Aye. Sorry, just making sure these numbers land. Okay. And then a vote to move $50,000. This one's confusing. That would have been a lot. I'm going to start over. I'm going to, for the Central Eastern Greenwich Civic Center tennis and pickleball court replacement, add $50,000 to the FY27 budget, moving that from the $50,000 in the FY28 capital plan, and the $450,000 for the FY20 budget will remain in place. So that's my motion.
I will second that motion.
As it was not in the original budget book, I'll read the project description, which is design specifications and engineering for the replacement of the hybrid pickleball tennis courts at the Cone Eastern Greenwich Civic Center, which are over 50 years old. These are the existing courts adjacent to the new pickleball courts that are currently under construction. Just as an aside, for everyone's time benefit, I'd ask the fervent pickleball community to consider written comments in support rather than public comment.
I'll just note for amusement also that community is one of the most vocal and respectful and numerous to come before us in public hearings. And I really thought after this year's public hearing, we might get away with nothing in the budget for pickleball, but that wasn't to be.
Well, what are we
Mr.
going to do
Kelly?
with all these courts if it becomes not popular anymore, Harry? What are we going to do? We're going to have a lot of pickleball courts.
my
aren't we?
problem.
Of course.
All right, so there is no change to the budget. Can we have all those in favor of the pickleball?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, I'm sorry, I'm working from my spreadsheet on my computer and the analog copy. So the next one is
Fixed charge.
Fixed charges, is that, you have a recommendation?
Yes, it's a reduction of 104,000.
Mr. Fisher, will you make that motion?
Wait a minute, I don't see an adjustment. This is in fixed charges, the bond band acquisition and interest.
Yes, that's the one, yeah.
And what's the adjustment?
104,000,
Positive.
the reduction.
The
Reduction.
reduction in line 950-999, bond and band acquisition interest of 100,000 to bring it to 1815.
Oh, 104, 1811.
Oh, 1811, I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
Sorry.
Mr.
I will
Benton?
second that.
Agnes, do you just want to explain this? This is an annual adjustment that we do every year, correct?
Yes, and it's a calculation, basically.
Yep, okay,
So I had it highlighted because I knew we needed to address it, but I didn't know
Thank
the
you.
number.
caught me off guard.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're rolling with it, Harry. I appreciate it. All right, Joan, can we have a number for the general fund for the changes that we made in capital?
Reduction of 777,000.
Moving on to the parking fund for capital, again, a rounding area, I'm rounding up for the multi-space meter program by $500 to $215,000. Mr. Fisher?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Mr. Fisher, the next one?
Yeah, I'll move a reduction of $35,000 in 219982 parking services, the parking facility improvement plan. If I get a second, I'll explain.
Oh, second.
Okay, this is in there for the south lot of the Havemeyer building, which is the employee lot. So it's not a valid expense from the parking fund because it's not a public lot. Furthermore, until the use of the Havemeyer building is decided, it doesn't make sense to repave the lot, but I question whether $35,000 would have done that anyway. So we'll let the schools, if they need to patch it or something like that, come back to us.
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The
Next
next
one
fund is Nathaniel Witherell. Mr.
Yeah, I'm
Fisher?
going to move to reduce the ceiling replacement in resident rooms by $735,000.
I'll second that.
The explanation here is in discussions with Nathaniel Witherell. One of the reasons to do this was a new call bell system that would be wired above the drop ceilings. They acknowledge that maybe that's not the best technology, number one. And number two, in our recent regular BET cycle, we had to add approximately the same amount to the Nathaniel Witherell capital plan for emergency repairs on the pipe. So we're trying to be responsible and put this off until there's more information available to us.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0? Yes, so it's reducing the entire amount of 735 to 0. I believe that concludes our capital. Does anyone have anything they want to revisit? Okay, we're going to just take 5 minutes so Joan can pull up the revenues and some of us can catch up. And if you need to use the facilities, now would be a good time, and we'll see you in about 5 minutes. Okay. All right, it's 10:22. We are going to reconvene the meeting. For those of you who might just be tuning in, we have already completed the operating and the capital section. I am not looking to set any records, but I think this team is moving apace, so I welcome that. And now we are moving on to revenue. Joan, you might have to enlarge that slightly, but the first item I have is interest earned on investments. Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to increase the interest on investments from $5 million to $6 million, a $1 million increase.
I will second.
And the explanation here is the Investment Advisory Committee met on this recently, worked with the Finance Department on projections. The expectation is, we're not interest rate forecasters, but with interest rates where they are and with public information, it appears that there will be, and looking at the projected balances to be invested, there is room to increase this to 6 million, and that is versus a prior year actual of 5.5 million and the current year budget of 7 million. And we're on track to at least get 7 million this year. So we're very comfortable going to 6 for the next fiscal year.
Additional comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. The next one I have is on the tax collector line, not otherwise classified. Current year budget is 500,000. This year's budget was 0. I think this was just a miss that was caught by the Finance Department. So the motion is to add 350,000 to this line item.
I'll second that.
Joan or Agnes, do you have a further clarification? I actually don't know what I&E is.
It's the income and expense penalties for the personal property. So that's what that is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for catching that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Fenton, you have the
Yep,
next
I'll
one.
make a motion, 161-44220, P and Z filing fees other. Make a motion to increase that by $215,000 to $1.24 million.
Hey, I'll second that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
So this revision's based on our budget discussions, feedback from Planning and Zoning Director Pat LaRoe, and reflects an increase in the fee structure from January 2025. I want to make a broader comment, really appreciate their work and feedback there. And as we think about revenues across town, kind of 2 points, or non-tax revenue across town, an idea for a goal for our budgeted revenue to be more driven by the underlying KPIs that drive those, especially, if we're budgeting for increases in inflation costs for capital construction, we should also be budgeting for similarly on our revenue for projects or for revenues that are linked to capital appreciation costs. And then second, we have, through our budget meetings, we discussed with several departments that had not seen their revenues or their pricing for fees increase to keep up with inflation or at all over, in several cases, more than a decade. And that should be revisited to make sure that we consider our services in the context and cost of our services in the context of the impact it has on taxpayers.
Further comment? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
All right.
The next item is also yours, Mr. Fenton?
Yep, 204-44612, Fire Marshal Plan Review Services increased by $100,000 to $800,000. Or I make a motion to.
Mr. Kelly?
I will second.
This revision is based on our budget discussions, year-to-date trends, and feedback from the fire department.
I'll just
Fisher?
make a comment here that this has become an important source of revenue for the town that was initiated a few years back and was only expected to be $400,000 or $500,000 in revenue and exceeded its expectations in the first year. And plan review in the fire marshal's office is a very intensive matter and consumes a lot of their time. I know that from being on various building committees. So, it's good to see this. Thank you.
Mr. Fenton? No, it looked like you were ready to make a comment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
All right.
Next item is federal reimbursement, highway, streets, and bridges. Mr. Fenton?
Yep, 312-44317, Highway, Streets, and Bridges, federal reimbursement increased by $2.5 million to $2.5 million.
I will second that.
As communicated by the finance director and DPW, there are 3 projects in the Z Fund with grant reimbursements expected to be received in FY '27. Those are CMAC Glenville, CMAC Route 1, and Route 1 RRFB Byram. This $2.5 million budgeted amount reflects any 2 of these 3 reimbursements being received in fiscal year 2027. So while we have some line of sight to a higher number, this is a conservative understanding of what happens. And just kind of more broadly, as a reminder, the Z Fund projects are funded with cash, which is why the reimbursements are recognized as revenue for the general fund. This differs from bonded projects such as Central Middle School, where the reimbursements go into those respective capital funds. And I just want to give my compliments to both the finance department and DPW teams on their process improvements to better identify timelines and collect on grant reimbursements.
Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, I think you indicated that the description on this needs to be adjusted because it says federal reimbursement, but these are really state reimbursements.
That's correct.
Yeah.
This is just the account that's been historically used.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. The next one is an adjustment based on the proposed budget from Hartford. This figure came from our comptroller. I make a motion to increase local capital improvement program by $135,644.
And I will second that.
Further comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. The next one I have is, I just wanted to make a comment, if I'm on the right one, on the schools tuition out of district and tuition, am I on the right one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And tuition for pre. The Board of Ed normally would meet in February to discuss increases in fees. It's being heard this month in March, so we have no information at this point, but I wanted to flag it because if there is a change, we may want to address it at BET Decision Day. Thank you. The next one, Agnes, we have a series of increases for Parks and Rec, but rather than doing individual line items, I believe the total for the general fund for Parks and Rec is $230,080. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I'd like to make an omnibus motion to increase Parks and Rec revenue by $230,080.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Harry, and have the Finance Department distribute it as appropriate throughout the accounts. And when we get to the Griff Harris, there's an additional revenue adjustment. So due to the fee increases, which the Board of Selectmen voted on in December, the total increase for Parks and Rec revenue is $482,421.
Yeah, and I'd just like to commend the Parks and Rec Department for being very proactive on fees and especially in the golf course where they've increased the guest pass, but not increased the members pass.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agnes, where does this show up? I mean, you have it in the line items,
Just
but
went through all of
you've double-checked the math and it,
Yes, and then also confirmed this
okay.
morning.
All right, thank you, thank you. So you've already done the work and we just totaled it up and thank you. I think that is it for the general fund. Joan?
We need to do the Griff set. Oh,
Yeah, we're going to
right,
do
for
the
general
Griff. I
fund.
just
Sorry.
wanted to check in. Again, we are moving a little quickly,
I know
so.
you need to do the pilot and cancellation of prior income where it says.
Okay, thank you. See, this is why we have a team here.
Management.
Okay, so I don't have a motion or a seconder identified on this.
I'll do it. Increase 997-43457 pilot tax exempt properties by $27,380 to amount of $1,111,000.
I'll second that, and just so if anybody doesn't know, pilot means. Oh, sorry. I'll second that, and just note for anybody who doesn't know, pilot means payment in lieu of taxes.
And can I ask Agnes or Joan to just provide comment on this adjustment?
This is in the current proposed governor's budget, so we're adjusting from an estimate to what's currently stated in the budget. If it passes, that will be the exact amount.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. The next one is cancellation of prior year's encumbrances.
Yeah, I'll move in addition to 998-49055, cancellation of prior year's encumbrances, an addition of $200,000 to make it $2.2 million. And this is from the Finance Department, I believe.
I will second this.
And do you have additional comment, Joan?
I mean, just generally, as a percentage, as our budget grows, the encumbrances grow, and it's really adjusting it in line with what we've seen, so.
Yeah, we'll have had, I think, both prior year and this year in excess of the new estimate.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. All right, I believe that now takes us to the end of the general fund. So Joan, if you want to give us a checkpoint, that would be appreciated.
So the original selectmen's budget, $685, increased by $4,758,104 to $526,502,789.
I am in agreement. Anyone else keeping track? If you have a discrepancy, I'm sure Joan or Agnes will be happy to help you out. Moving on to, we are at Sewer Division, Mr. Fenton.
Yes, for the sewer maintenance fund, I believe sewer maintenance fund, 361-42130, septic tank permits, I can't actually read that thing there. Increasing the amount, motion to increase the amount by $100,000 to $350,000.
I will second that.
Just for context here, this line item has been budgeted at $250,000 for an extended period of time. Since FY21, we have not had a year with revenue for this line item below $360,000 in the past 2 years, and current year to date all indicate revenue in excess of $400,000. This change was made at the suggestion of the head of DPW.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item, I believe, is the GRIF. And this is the 252-341.
I'm sorry, there's a finance administration.
Yeah, I don't know, what is that first one?
Probably it's interest on their fund balance.
It's just the interest on their actual cash, actually, yeah.
Oh,
So
in
they
the
do
GRIF.
earn interest. The 130 is just, anytime it's Department 130, it says finance, but it's truly golf, it's GRIF,
It's Griff, okay.
because it's in the M fund.
Right,
Do we
so-
need to make two separate motions to indicate one's from interest and one's from fees? No?
Oh, yeah, they're
we
two
really-
separate line items.
Yeah, they're two separate line items. I mean,
All right,
they're
I'll
four
move.
separate line items, but one is related to interest and one is related to,
We could do a separate for
yeah,
interest and
yeah,
one
let's
for
do that.
fees.
Harry, you got that?
So I'll move an increase in Department 130, the GRIF, 46110, interest earned on investments from $110,000 to $150,000, more in line with proper projection on their balances in past history.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will, Mr. Fisher, do you have the number for the next one? Did you want me to make the
Okay,
motion?
I can do it.
Okay, go ahead, Doug.
I'll make a motion across the GRIF to increase fee-based revenue by $212,341.
I will second that.
And this is,
Second, sorry.
and as mentioned earlier, this is a reflection of fee changes that were approved in December by the Board of Selectmen that were not included in the original budget and put forward by Parks and Rec.
Roll three of these. All three.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. I believe we are done with revenues. It's 10:37, okay. Next, we are moving on to the mill rate, the budget schedules and the mill rate. So,
Laura, you have to adjust the operating for the, because you reduced Nathaniel Witherell capital.
so I
and
was going to
parking
go back to that at the end when we
Okay.
vote on the funds, because I know Nathaniel Witherell, we reduced not only operating, but also capital.
Yes, yes, okay, okay.
So I just want to, at the end, when we go through all the tabs, including Shellfish and Harbor Commission, we'll make a note of that. So now we are moving on to the effect of the actions that we've taken so far on operating, capital, and revenue flows into our budget schedule page, which is the calculation of the mill rate. So we're going to give Joan a chance to pull that up. So bear with us for a few minutes.
It's also in the SharePoint.
It is in the SharePoint, but it's, Leo, if you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be great. Okay, so I think, did we add columns on the right? So,
Shoulder, is that okay?
On 1,200.
Oh, not the market, but here,
Oh,
because I can't read that.
oh, I haven't,
No, you don't have a computer.
look, you was gonna get it, but you can look over my shoulder.
yeah. All right, Joan, I believe for the general fund, on the operating, we reduced operating by $2,100,606. Is that correct?
No, because we did not do the premium, so it really is 1,095,606.
Okay, so
Right.
we didn't do the, I thought we did the 1077, no?
No.
We did not do the reduction on the employee premium.
Oh, right. Okay, all right, we did not do that, excuse me. All right, so sorry, what was the total general fund number again?
1,095,606.
All right, so the operating costs, instead of increasing by 19,555,751, we reduced by 1,095,606. And that brings us to an increase of, I can't read that number. I have it on my computer, but I want you to do it.
4.01.
4.01, all right? And then on the capital requests, we reduced them by 777,000, right?
Yes, yes.
So the new capital number is,
92,246,000. 92,246,000.
I'm checking in with Mr. Weisbrod and people on the side. Of everyone following along, and can we see? I don't want to get ahead of everyone.
It is up on the screen. I know. If I make it bigger, you're going to lose a lot.
I can't find it on the site.
It's on, yeah, so everyone, it's on budget schedules
Yeah,
in the
but we're,
SharePoint.
yeah, we're just kind of updating on the go, so it may not reflect that.
I'm on a downloaded version, but you can put those same numbers in if anyone's in this file in SharePoint. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
You know what, I'm gonna suggest, just so everyone is on the same page, I think it's really important that everyone understands where we are and what we're doing, that we take a 15-minute break, and then we can make
Everyone
sure,
logged
you can
in,
download
yeah.
a copy of the schedule and then work on it, if you save it as a separate file.
I think I've found it.
Yeah. Well, we can, during the break, why don't we get you, during the break, we can get you all, your versions, so that you'll all have it.
But before we break, let's just do the revenues so everyone can get the true picture. So if you go down on the spreadsheet to all other revenues on Excel line 32. Currently, we have revenues of $38,758,726. Yep. You know what I'm going to ask? We're going to make the 3 changes to operating, capital, and revenue. We'll ask Leo to print out new copies, and we'll ask her also to send an electronic file so everyone can have the information. And then maybe we need longer than 15 minutes if we want to have a brief caucus. 15 minutes is good? All right, but I truly, I want to stress this point. I don't want anyone to feel like we're moving too fast. I want everyone to be comfortable with where we are.
Thank you. We'll slow you down if we're struggling.
Okay, all right, so on the revenues that we just did, for the general fund, Joan or Agnes, if you could remind us, because now
Okay, for the state and federal aid line, it's an additional $2,663,024.
all right, so that brings the total state and federal aid revenue to 7252896?
Yes, and then on all the other, it's an addition, $2,095,080, 2095080.
So that brings the all other, rather, to 48,853,806?
Yeah,
So then the
yes.
total revenue,
4,758,104 is the total change.
yes, okay. All right, and if you're good with that, let's have copies printed and let's send the file so everyone can take a beat and look at the numbers. And I think when we come back, just for continued audience engagement, we'll be talking about the capital tax levy and the mill rate. All right, thank you. I'm just going to reconvene the meeting. It is 11 o'clock, and Mr. Pellegrino, if you just give me a second, sorry. What we have just done this morning is we have taken actions on operating expenses, on capital expenses, and on revenues. And so now what we've done is inputted those numbers into the budget schedules tab, which feeds into the mill rate. So where we are now is we've made those adjustments, and the mill rate as presented to us was 6.01% increase. The effect of the actions that we've taken this morning bring the mill rate increase to 4.7% increase. So we all have now received the updated figures, and I believe there is a request to have a caucus break for you'll tell me how long you need, and then we will reconvene after that to discuss further
right.
motions.
We're requesting a caucus break. I can't predict how long, but we'll try to keep it as short as possible, hopefully 15, 20 minutes.
Do we think this caucus break reflects the people's desire for lunch? Do they think they don't qualify
You
for the
know,
free
I
lunch if we
think-
don't make it till 12 o'clock?
No, I think we're going to, let's say we'll reconvene at 11:30, and maybe then we'll adjourn before lunch, Mr. Kelly. Let's see.
Qualify for the free lunch.
All right, so we are in recess till approximately 11:30. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right, everyone, it is 11:34. We are reconvening after about a half an hour caucus break, and I just want to level set where we are from the actions of this morning. What we're discussing now is the mill rate calculation page, which is the first page of the budget schedules in the First Selectman's budget. So the actions of this morning, we've gone through operating expenses, capital, and revenues. So on the operating costs, we've reduced them by $1,095,606,000. On the capital requests, we have reduced them by $777,000. And on the revenues, we have, on two line items, we have increased state and federal aid by $2,663,024, and we've increased all other revenues by $2,095,080. So the effect of that is on the First Selectmen's budget, the change in the mill rate as proposed was an increase of 6.01%, and the effect of these actions bring the proposed increase in the mill rate to 4.70. One other note I just want to make before I entertain a motion for Mr. Fisher is on the first page, we are showing the use of unrestricted fund balance of June 30th, a negative $2 million change from the prior year, use of fund balance of $21,800,000 from $23,800,000 in fiscal '26 budget. But in prior years, we have broken that out to show two lines, the use of unrestricted fund balance and the transfer from unrestricted fund balance for prior losses, which relates to the operations of Nathaniel Witherall, which we typically have funded in arrears. So we are going to unhide that row basically to show the two. The number doesn't change, but we're just showing the use of fund balance and the use for prior year losses. So with that, Agnes and Joan, was that an accurate summary? Do you have anything to add? All right, Mr. Fisher.
Yeah, and in my discussion here, I'm going to focus on the required tax levy line, and just to emphasize that the changes that Ms. Erickson made that go from a 6.16% increase to a 5.48% increase. And every $1 million of change is equal to about 23 basis points, roughly 0.25%. So my motion is to change the capital tax levy, the amount we set aside for capital, from an increase of $3 million to an increase of $5 million, going from $64 million to $66 million. So that is my motion, Mr. Kelly.
Yes, I will second that.
Okay, now a little more discussion on that. I would point out that, again, on the required tax levy, that would keep the overall increase in taxes to the residents, which is really what that line is. The mill rate is based on an increase, an assumed increase in the grand list, but we will be using a new grand list to set the tax rate in May. So the increase in the required tax levy would be, it would take it from the 5.48 that our changes have made so far to 6.94, I believe is the number of a percent increase, still keeping the tax increase below 6%.
5.94. 5.94.
5.94, I'm sorry, thank you. So that's where we think, and this really is, you know, Republicans have resisted calls from our colleagues to increase this in the past. I, for one, have been reluctant to tax the residents for future obligations, being the debt obligations, but I think now is the time to do this. We have tremendous capital projects going on. The debt model has been scrutinized by the Fund Balance and Debt Committee, and our representatives to it, Mr. Pellegrino and Ms. Bednar, have told me that the cliff, so to speak, doesn't really hit us until 5 years out, 2032. Increasing the capital tax levy will help moderate that a little bit, and that now is the time to really start trying to smooth things for the taxpayers over the next few years and to avoid radical changes, not radical, but avoid major changes in how we manage our debt. So that's really my case.
Can I just clarify? I'm not sure I have the percentages and what line item I'm looking at. Can you just repeat the increases and the percentage and where I'm looking? I'm not looking at the bottom mill rate number then, I'm looking at a different,
The required tax levy
all
is
right,
the line I'm quoting.
that's you're looking at,
So
okay.
it would take it from 6.16 down to 5.94. From the sheet that has the
Yep.
red heading.
Yep,
So the red heading is 6.16, we'd reduce it by $1 million, which makes it 5.94. That number there.
okay. 5.1494.
9.4.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Keep it under
clarification.
6.
Mr. Fenton?
Sure. So I, kind of through the election, from my time on the RTM and whatnot, one of the real goals and asks of the town was to be more thoughtful about our capital plan, make sure it's accurate, make sure it's well vetted, make sure we understand both what the costs to the town are, as well as what potential cash inlays we have to have a better understanding of what our cash schedule for our capital needs are, and to understand what our various funding options are for that. And, one of the first things that got set up and has been working well on a bipartisan basis is the Debt and Fund Balance Policy Committee, which are working to have a clearer view of the capital plan, really kind of scrub it and clean it up, make sure it's reflective of reality, again, both in terms of inflation as well as potential cash inlays or inputs we have to make sure we have a real understanding of what our cash flow needs are. And then come up with recommendations for what the appropriate funding options that we as a town make sense to pursue. And it feels premature to make adjustments at this stage to address something when that process is still in place and that they haven't gotten through that process to the conclusions where you will have a clear path of this is what will make sense on a multi-year plan. To me, kind of this step, and maybe we can talk a bit more of specifically why that number, but it hasn't been laid out of why this makes sense in the context of the overall process. And while it may make sense to do this, I would much rather see that process play out that, again, gets us to a cleaner view of what our cash flow needs are as a town to fund our capital plan, as well as fully explore what the various funding options are that our town may pursue.
Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, I think the model is the model. And we talk about this, but for the benefit of the public, there is a capital model that is owned by the finance department, the budget director in person. And it has been formulated. I don't think anything is going to radically change on that model based on what we know today or what we will know before BET decision day on the 31st. I know the committee to which you refer is going to meet again in March, but I don't think there's going to be any new information. We know that we're going to have to spend more to fund our capital needs. That's a known. So it's time to do this. The increase in the capital tax levy has been $3 million, I think, for 5 years now. There have been initiatives on the Democrats to increase it. We're ready to do it, and it's time to do it. And there's going to be no more new information, I don't believe, that is going to argue against doing that. Thank you.
Thank you both. And Mr. Fisher, thank you for the motion. I think this is a really important discussion and a real step forward. And I appreciate it. I think we all recognize we have a big task in front of us. We have a large capital plan over the next 5 to 10 to 15 years, depending on how comfortable you are projecting out. There's been a lot of work being done to refine the model, to understand the timing and the cadence of projects, to understand our debt assumptions. I know there's additional work, I believe, and I will confess I haven't been digging into the model of late. I did that a few years ago, but I believe we're trying to make now reasonable assumptions about state grants and reimbursements and perhaps private donations. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the finance department is still working on refining some aspects of that model. And I think all of that work is good, and I think all of us are completely on board with that. I tend to agree with Mr. Fenton that this is the work of the entire finance board, not just the 4 members of the budget committee. And I think it's appropriate that all 12 of us fully understand the issues before us and the projects. I believe it was last year or the year before, there was a conversation about, what do we do with this issue facing us? We talk about the fiscal cliff. Well, we either tax more, or we don't do projects, or defer projects, or reduce the scope of projects. We increase the capital tax levy as one means to finance, certainly, and I fully own that Democrats in the past have made these motions, so I fully own that. It is a very viable avenue. There's also an avenue to explore different ways of financing our projects to match the asset to, or to match the debt to the life of the project. I think that's a discussion that we should flesh out. It may not be where everyone is at, but I think just having all those options, which, again, taking the politics out of it, these are just financing tools. So let's look at our options. I am not sure the vetting process, and I fully agree that the work of the Debt and Fund Balance Committee is not going to get there, but part of the process is understanding the capital plan and what's in there and making sure it's complete. But then there's a second part of the process to make sure we prioritize and vet and make sure that all those projects are doable in that timeframe. And that work still needs to be done, and I grant you it probably won't be done by the end of March. When the capital tax levy was first increased by $3 million a year, and it has been a number of years, I think it was First Selectman Lash at the time, or maybe he was on the BET, I actually can't recall. But, the Board of Ed had done an extensive master plan, and it was a daunting number, so a big, big number. And so, rightfully so, members of the BET at the time said the only way to possibly achieve this number is to build it in a base. And so if we do a $3 million increase a year to put it in our base, that's the responsible, fiscally prudent thing to do. And it may well be that that $3 million is no longer adequate with what is facing us. But I do think that while your motion is well taken, I am not prepared to vote on it at this time. I want to give our finance department some additional time to tweak the model. I want to give the Debt and Fund Balance Policy Committee additional time to do their work. And I do also, to be fair, this is increasing the tax levy. And I think we need to do a little more homework before we take that step. We all want to fund our capital projects responsibly. This is one option. It's very worthy of exploring, but I think we need a little more time. Mr. Fisher?
Just a footnote is, we discussed healthcare costs earlier. Mr. Fenton has an initiative for a $1 million savings to the town. Mr. Brown thinks that there's further savings to be garnered in the total insurance premium that may bring it up to another $2 million. So there are some things. I take your comments as you're not going to vote for this time around, but the door is still open.
I think that's fair.
Thank you.
Mr. Fenton?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Kelly? Good. All right, are we ready to call a vote?
Yep.
All those in favor of the Mr. Fisher motion to increase the capital tax levy by $2 million?
Aye.
No?
Okay.
2-2, so that motion has failed. Any other motions on the mill rate page? All right,
Sorry,
we're going to do comments
got it.
at the end, but I just wanted, we do have to do some other business, so I just want to get through the other tabs, because sometimes we forget those, to be very honest. So if we can go to our,
Budget book?
but the budget book, not the First Selectmen's budget, not the capital.
Okay.
And Agnes or Joan, I'm going to help you.
Of course.
So we have made adjustments to the operating budget, and now I want to be sure we go to the sewer funds. I guess it's the first one. We made a motion.
Should we clear the motions on the operating and capital first?
Yeah, maybe we should do that, which might mean I have to open
On
up
the-
another
On the overall
spreadsheet.
motion that
Yeah.
I made earlier. Sorry, for the benefit of the public, I just suggested that we clear the motions on the overall motions on operating capital that I made at the beginning of the meeting.
Oh, gosh, internet. All right, so So the motion on operating, the first selectman's budget was $543,544,685. We are reducing it. Sorry, this is really hard to keep all this paper and spreadsheets.
Kill ourselves with paper.
Trees.
What did I just do?
Oh, you need this one?
Yeah. Agnes, can you tell me what the revised
go.
number is? Okay, sorry.
So,
578, 449, 079. The top line.
sorry, we're just on operating or capital?
We're at operating.
479 to 478, 449.
All right, hang on. Maybe I'm looking at the,
Hey.
what am I doing here? All right. Mr. Fisher, why don't you make your motion?
No, there's a motion on the,
Did we get a second? I'm sorry.
this,
Oh, the
thing
first
we made
motion, okay. So we are voting on the operating budget as
As
amended,
amended.
which is a reduction of $1,095,606. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then a motion on capital, which was brought forward this morning, so now we are voting on the capital budget as amended, which is a reduction of $777,000.
Correct.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, thank you.
Okay, excellent, sorry for that. Thank you, Doug, for giving me the right paper. Yep,
Going to sewer fund?
Go to sewer funds
going to
first.
sewer funds. And we made an increase in the revenue there. So let's see if. Does that change the mill rate at all, Agnes? What are we? Sorry, I did not do those calculations in advance, if you could.
It's just 100,000 of funding.
Yeah.
So are we doing the adjustment in the revenue?
We already made the adjustment in the revenue, so now we have to vote on the sewer fund as amended. So
Well,
I'm
we
just,
didn't have a motion, so I'll make a motion to approve the sewer fund.
is your mic on, Harry?
Oh, sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the sewer maintenance fund at a amount to be financed of $9,976,511, counting for the amended $100,000. Is that correct, Agnes?
9176.
9176.
It was only 100,000 adjustment, right?
But I'm going, I thought it was an
Oh,
increase
he's
in
going
revenues.
from- Where are we doing?
I don't remember the adjustment.
So it was a $100,000 increase in revenue, right?
Right, would reduce the amount to be
Right,
financed.
so 9,976,511.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
you're right. Now,
I think you're correct.
Yep, okay. Boy, I'll take credit for beating out the budget director.
Not going to happen twice.
All
No, I
right,
don't think it'll happen again. Okay, so that's been moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, in Nathaniel Witherall, I think what we want to do is go
Wait,
to,
do we need sewer improvement?
we didn't do anything on sewer improvement, did we?
Don't we need to move it?
Oh, we need to move it. Thank you. I appreciate
It's all right.
that's right. All right, motion to, Harry? make a
So I'll
motion?
move the sewer improvement budget as presented in the book with the amount to be financed of $5,168,000 and a mill rate, well, the amount to be financed, $5,168,000.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, now we're moving on to Nathaniel Witherall. We made two changes here, one on the electric line and one on the capital line, so I believe the total to be financed from 36,679, 245 needs to go down by 745, and the 85, I'm forgetting that number.
735 and the 85, so it's 820,199.
Okay, I'm confused.
I'm a
which
little
line we're
confused
on.
now. So I'm taking the fiscal 27 budget, the department total was 36,679, 245, and we are reducing that by 745,000 and 85,
I thought it was 735, was it 735?
735 for capital.
Yeah, and then the 85,199,
That's what I couldn't remember, 85,199.
yeah.
Okay, so what's the new number?
The total is 35,859,046.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
School lunch.
School lunch. You want to move the item?
I'll move approval of the school lunch fund, which has revenues of $4,488,000 and ordinary expense of $5,449,238 for a deficit of $961,238, which is going to bring the fund balance for the first time in a few years down below zero. But we understand how that works, that it's really just an effect on the general fund, I believe.
I will second, but I would just add that we learned from the Board of Ed during our budget meeting that the assumption that they're running ahead of budget for this fiscal year, such that it will not end the year 27 with a meaningful material negative fund balance.
That's good news. I had not heard that directly. Thank you, sir.
Okay, but what we're approving is the ordinary expenses of $5,449,238, correct? Okay. Ready to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, and that was Harry and you, Doug?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Parking fund, we did make a change here, albeit modest. We did
Yeah,
a,
$35,000 adjustment to expenses. So that would bring it,
Well, there was that rounding,
And
so
we did
it's
the round.
34,500.
so
I'm sorry.
There was that rounding that we fixed, so it's 34,500.
So wait, instead of 3,459,966, it's what?
3,425,466.
So parking fund in the amount of 3,425,266.
Oh, 466.
466.
466.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Doug?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
He's
Aye.
gonna do that.
400. All right. Griff Harris, we made changes to revenues here?
You also have to do the other part of the parking.
Oh,
fund,
the highway
traffic,
signs and
yeah.
lines. Thank you.
What do we need to do?
The other side of the parking fund.
The other side is
traffic.
the, not but just parking services, but the highway traffic operations, in the amount of $1,472,858.
So moved.
We're on page 4 of the parking fund, 318.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
400. Now we're on the Griff Harris. I believe we just made adjustments to revenue, so the total expenses. Oh, sorry.
Did we do State Railroad? I don't remember doing that in the past.
You know what? I took the posting from the RTM call, so I think we should do it.
Okay.
Just for, so the motion is to,
I'll move the State Railroad Fund as presented in the book. Total expenses of $938,124. Net revenues of negative $32,218, but leaving a fund balance of $6.8 million roughly.
I will second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Doug, do you want to make a brief comment on this? Just, it seems like it's the appropriate,
Oh, on these?
on the parking fund and other funds in general? Or do you want to wait till the end?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll make a quick summary comment. A few years ago, we were worried about a deficit in this fund, and we seem to have built up a healthy fund balance. And Doug's comment when he was doing some of his analysis, he's not sure that we're adequately charging back the benefits appropriately. So that was something he wanted to look at. And then bigger picture, the charter very clearly sets out what these funds are to be used for. And now that we have acquired a surplus in the fund, we want to be sure someone's looking at that.
Okay.
And that relates to, the state railroad's its own thing, but relates to the parking fund and some of the other revenue funds.
Yeah, that's what I meant, sorry. Just to be clear, before we moved on. Okay.
Thank you.
Now we are on Griff Harris. We increased the revenue, so the total expenses should have reduced. Do we have a number for that?
The Griff expenses went down?
No, the expenses didn't go down, just the revenue went up.
Oh, I beg your pardon, so that's, all right.
How much did the revenue go up?
Um,
I'm sorry.
252, 341.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so the motion is for the total expenses, Harry, of 2,000,009.
Yeah, I'll move approval of total expenses of $2,920,836.
So
And I'll note that the revenue increase eliminates the deficit in this fund.
Yes.
I'll second it.
okay, Mr. Kelly seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 400. OPEB, retirement fund. Mr. Fisher, you comfortable making the motion for the
sure.
expenses?
I'll move the 131 retirement. This is the retirement budget, which is expenditures of $2,262,291. But this, as a note, comes from the retirement fund, or it's a reduction or it's in the contribution? Yeah, in the contribution. Okay.
Is there a second? Mr. Kelly?
I'll second it, sure.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next one is OPEB.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to total expenditures for the OPEB fund of $8,581,000 versus total revenues of $9,939,000. Means the change in the fund balance for operations would be a positive $1,358,000. And the fund balance at the end of the year projected at $56,591,6032.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
You, all those in favor?
Aye.
400. That takes us to the restricted reserve accounts. The first is the Shellfish Commission.
Yeah, I'm looking for the number, total expenditures, I will move 57,651. And that is versus revenues of 2,000, so it'll reduce the fund balance down to 166,322.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 400. And Harbor Management Commission.
And I will move total expenditures of $81,000 and revenues of $81,000, keeping the fund balance flat at 426,433.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
400. Joan or Agnes, is there anything we missed there?
I think we're done.
Okay, I do want to just touch on two things, and then I'll provide anyone who wishes to an opportunity to make comments. So we have taken the actions on the proposed budgets presented by the Office of the First Selectman. I wanted to talk briefly about, and we've also done the budget schedules. Other business, if any, is on there. I wanted to mention budget resolutions. We've had some discussions about a new resolution for the new speed enforcement camera operation. We have an outside vendor for that. I believe the Law Committee has drafted some language. There may be, I know we were presented with a Board of Ed resolution that was in draft form for the Greenwich High Pool project as it existed when the Board of Ed reviewed it initially. I don't know if that's ready for prime time, but my suggestion would be, we're not in a position to vote on those today. I just wanted to highlight that the Law Committee was continuing to do its work. I know you're meeting on Thursday, so I expect we'll have budget resolutions. There may be more that I don't know of. We asked some departments to review their resolutions for accuracy. So that will come before the full BET. Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, just a suggestion, if we have these in time for our March Budget Committee meeting, regular meeting, maybe we'll take a look at them then.
Sure. If the law committee's ready to move them forward, happy to. That's right, we do have a meeting next Tuesday. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we previously highlighted conditions that we expect to see or signaled. They may change, and there may be more, but again, those will be taken up by the full BET on Decision Day, which is March 31st. And as has been noted in the press, there was a revaluation for the grand list, so the full BET will be making a motion to adopt the grand list probably on Decision Day, the end of March. That's assuming BAA will be done. And we can also make that adjustment when we set the mill rate in May. So more to come on that. All right, would anyone like to take the opportunity to make some final comments?
No, I'll just say that, I think this went very smoothly. Thanks a lot to our Budget Committee Chair. I think both sides did a lot of work leading up to this, and I think our closing almost before noon is reflective of a lot of the thought and work that went into this budget on the part of all members of the BET.
Mr. Fenton?
Sure. I just want to also give kudos to Ms. Erickson for her work as the chair and the rest of this committee. And also all of folks from town and the finance department for interacting with us to do the work that Mr. Fisher referred to. The one thing I'd just like to add, as it was discussed earlier around benefits, there's still work to do. Being my first time up here, how abbreviated this schedule is of 2 full meetings a week. I still think there is work to be done, that potential can be done on the budget as we look forward to the full BET Decision Day, and I look forward to working with the finance department and across the full BET to do that work for the taxpayers. Thank you.
One last comment. We are much more productive when we work together. Thank you very much, everybody, for working together.
And I just want to extend my thanks to everyone on this committee and our finance staff and Leo, who has just managed all the logistics and kept us well caffeinated and well fed so we can do our work in a cheerful mood. I want to extend my thanks to all the BET members who have attended or listened or participated in some way in these proceedings. I really think that working together and fleshing things out in advance is really, I can't tell you how my experience, Harry and I are both veterans of the Budget Committee, and I think this has truly been an efficient process, and it's thanks to the work of a lot of people. So I extend my gratitude also to the department heads who followed up promptly with requests for information as best they could. I want to call your attention to, there is a public hearing on March 26th. It'll be held in the Town Hall meeting room. The full BET Decision Day is March 31st, also in Town Hall. I look forward to those deliberations. I think we've set the tone and we've teed up a couple of items for further discussion, and I know there's more work to do between now and then, but I feel really good about where we are and how we accomplished it. Anyone else? Mr. Weisbrod, do you want to make a comment?
I do have to say that this sort of progress that's been made today is not just the effort of one political group or another political group. It is a reflection of how 12 dedicated people, and in this case 4 highly dedicated people on the Budget Committee, and that means Harry and Joe and Doug and Laura, all of you, the way you've worked together, the example that you've displayed over this entire month of February into this Decision Day is something I hope reverberates throughout the community. It shows how we can just all roll up our sleeves, work together in the town's interest, and all this political stuff, DER, all the rest can be put to the side and has really no relevance for the work that's done. I want to thank Laura as chair for bringing this all together. I want to thank my colleague, Mr. Pellegrino, for his leadership as well. And in particular, as you've all said, the greatest thanks goes to Joan and Agnes for the tireless work that they've done. It's no small task getting this amount of work done as efficiently and as flawlessly as what we've seen over the last, not just today, but over the month of February. I'm in awe of all this, and I'm really, really, really happy. Thank you.
Mr. Kelly, do you have a motion for us?
Yes, there's something I was looking at in the I'm just kidding. I motion we adjourn.
I will second.
All those in favor? Aye. 4-0. Thank you, everybody.